Ah, yes, here we are yet again. If you're watching us live in all of our glory, then you are doing so at Wednesday, noon Eastern Time, because that's always time for the High Noon Hemp Show. Of course, you can watch us later as well, video on demand. You can do that at the Temptations Beach Facebook page, also the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel, and at Temptations on Twitter. The podcast, Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show. I am Stoner Jesus. He is Beach. He's high above the Temptations location in Sharonville, Ohio, at the Headquarters Beach. How are things this week in the world of Temptations?
Things are fine o dandy, just okay. Here we are about almost halfway through the year. So,
Yep.
um, we'll see. Welcome everyone to the High Noon Hemp Show. Remember, the FDA has not evaluated the show for safety or efficacy, as you may know. And it is true, I am high above the Sharonville location at the Planet Everywhere Studios, as I like to call it, for the High Noon Hemp Show. Here we are, halfway through season 19. Man, geez, can you believe it, folks? Halfway through season 19. Um, I do want to remind everyone, right off the gate. Remember your CBD for your pets next Tuesday. Independence Day is always crazy with the fireworks. So if you have a pet that the fireworks really bother them, come in and get some treats. Or I recommend just doing getting a bottle of the Temptations 300 milligram hemp oil or CBD in hemp oil. More on why that's a good thing later in the show. And then you can add it to any of their treats. Figure out the dosage by their weight, which is about the same as a human. So 1 milligram per 10 pounds is good. If you got a 50-pound dog, 5 milligrams is probably a good starting dose. Um, for things like fireworks or thunderstorms or things like that, if they bother, I would recommend upping that dose a little bit. It's completely safe. They're not going to OD on CBD any more than a human can OD on CBD, which is you can't do it, or at least we haven't found the amount that you could consume. So, uh, but again, well, that's what we use for our 85-pound Doberman. And I usually give her anywhere between 10 to 15 milligrams, depending on what's really going on. Fireworks are probably a little less because they're not as bad. Thunderstorms, she goes nuts, and so I really give her a good dose. So anyway, with Independence Day coming up, if that's an issue for your pet, be prepared. I usually try to dose Josie about 30 minutes before I think something's going to happen, as far as the storms or whatever. So, when it comes to fireworks, people tend to do them all day long. But if you live close to somewhere that's doing a really big display, then um, uh, I was 100% surprised. I can tell you this: we were down on the boat, and we were only 2 miles from the stadium. And last Friday night was Friday night fireworks, and it was a loud one. And Josie actually she almost slept through it. So
Wow.
that was the first time ever. And I don't think I gave her any CBD, but I might have given her CBD and forgotten about it too, knowing that we may get some fireworks. But anyway, so all right, well, let's jump right into. Again, I should have been more appropriate with the products and thought about this Independence Day stuff a little bit more. But of course, we have everything you need for your pets or yourself. But this first one is the Coast Delta 8 cigarettes, very popular. These are very calming for humans. I found that Delta 8 is very much on the calming side, and it does provide effects. You do feel something, um, you know, uh, comparable to CBD, where you really don't feel anything. It just does what you want it to do. But as you can see, 5 flavors, um, and I think these were good for me when I was going out somewhere where I couldn't smoke Delta 9 publicly, but I could smoke these because they're 100% legal. And, they can say, well, that smells like blah, blah. And I can say, well, I don't care what it smells like. It's, it isn't what it is. And soon, a laser coming to you will prove that as well. More on that later in the news. I found some, again, unfortunately, and I should have mentioned this earlier, that it is kind of a sad week for us because we're closing the Dayton store, and it's breaking my heart, but that means a lot of product are coming back to the Sharonville store that we don't have here, and we'll get out to the other stores as well, one of those being the CBD conditioner by Earthly Body. Earthly Body makes a great product, period, and so it's not like one of those people that made a conditioner that may have who knows what in it and then added CBD. The conditioner itself is truly worth the bottle. I don't know that the CBD makes much of a difference. I guess rub it into your scalp when you're using the conditioner. Of course, you leave it in there so that CBD would absorb into your scalp, and I don't know, it couldn't have negative effects, but I don't know what the positive effects would be. But there you have it. If you're looking for some CBD conditioner that we've been out of for a while, and of course the tea tree, I did mention on a show a while back that I did do some research, and tea tree is one of those things that's supposed to be better for dandruff. Nothing cures dandruff, but you can treat dandruff. And I did read the tea tree oil was good with that. Hemp oil has to be good with that, I feel like. I don't know if there's any research out there to show that, but we know that hemp oil is great for most skin conditions, psoriasis, skin tags, as you may have seen the commercial on TV, and whatnot. And so, if that light's too bright, it really isn't. I don't think it changes much to do that, but I am not as a bright a light as I was. It won't take my thoughts away, I promise, folks. So, Earthly Body CBD conditioner back on the show in Sharonville. Hemp Mania. How about the Hemp Mania sling bags? I think I talked about these not too long ago, but nice little selection. And again, most of the pictures of the products are products that are in the Sharonville location. We could probably ship worldwide if you see something on the show and you were to call the store in Sharonville. We'd probably figure out how to do it that way. But we do have products on the website where you can shop online, but not as much this stuff. So anyway, if you were looking for a Hemp Mania sling bag for the summer, these are perfect little bags for stuff. How about some Hemp Trader ankle socks? I don't want to call these no-shows because they go up your ankle pretty good. But these are actually from Hemp Traders out west. Hemp Traders is one of the predominant suppliers of hemp material. So if you're looking for hemp material, check out Hemp Traders. If they don't have what you need, then Enviro Textiles may. But that's for another show, maybe. So get yourself some ankle socks, also to be showcased later in the show. And the last, that's 4 from the store. The one from my door, going way back with my tribal fiber pot holders. I just found these and have been using them recently. And we sold a lot of the tribal fiber products back in the day, it's good stuff. It really is. And so having my tribal fiber hemp pot holders is nice. It's nice. It's good. I like them. I like them a lot. And they're also very decorative. And so anyway, I doubt that you can find. Again, Tribal Fiber is one of those companies that I might have to do some research to see if they still exist. I would love that Tribal Fiber was still around and making their housewares. That's all they really did was houseware stuff like this, table runners, placemats, napkins, things like that was their forte in the hemp world back again in the turn of the century. It's my new favorite phrase because I mean there's really two worlds of mine really when it comes to hemp, and it's really that turn of the century hemp world, which was we were 5 years in. Things were really getting kind of big as far as products being made out of hemp and things like that. And now there's this hemp world, which is the current one. And so that's why we're here on the High Noon Hemp Show, folks, talking about 4 from the store, 1 from my door on the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Dun, dun, dun.
Those of you listening and watching, you notice a little bit of the static under Beach's voice. Why that comes in? The first 5-6 minutes was perfect, and then all of a sudden it creeps in, and I'm not sure why that is. I have no explanation for an audio problem that only comes in midway through what you're doing. I've never heard that before or seen that before in my life, but here we are. Where it comes from, I don't know.
No, feedback is bad.
That's right. We soldier on, because the next segment is arguably the most important segment of any video show that's ever appeared in the entirety of the history of the internet. You may think that's hyperbole. I don't care. I said it. Prove me wrong. Somehow it is the Beachwear segment where we ask Beach a very important question. I ask Beach a very important question, and he answers me with pictures and with a description. And here's how it works. I say, "What are you wearing, Beach?"
That's right. If you are curious, what are you wearing, Beach? And I want to be sure to everyone that I am a non-classically trained model. So I think that should be its own category when we're talking about the "What are you wearing, Beach" segment of the show. But I am camp swagging it. That's right. If I was at camp and I was a counselor this week, this is exactly how I would be dressed at Camp Swag. That's right. I've got a head case Camp Swag hat on. I also have a classic head case Camp Swag t-shirt. Show me someone that has both a hat and a shirt from Camp Swag, and I will show you a true hempster. My shorts there, going back kind of turn of the century, or at least 15, 20 years ago. Ecolution. Again, Ecolution was really, and Ecolution still exists. Ecolution is still, I believe, making great products. But they really, these were probably and still are some of my favorite shorts. I don't wear them as much because I'm afraid now they're getting a little bit worn, but not too much, to be honest with you, after 20 years of them being some of my favorite cargo shorts, period, out there. So Ecolution, check them out, see what you can find. And then, of course, in the pocket there, you can see my Green Springs Technology pen. Goes with me everywhere I go. My briefs are Hemptopia. And then again, there's those Hemp Traders ankle socks, which work really well. They do kind of become no-shows when I wear my Levi high tops. That's right, those are Levi hemp high tops. So there you have it, folks. If you're wondering, Beach, if you were a camp counselor, A, where would you be a camp counselor? And B, what would you wear? There it is, folks, the Camp Swag outfit. So, and of course, back in the day, swag was stuff that you got at a show or whatnot. And then swag became a term for not so good cannabis. And so it went from meaning kind of one thing to meaning another thing. And it wasn't a good thing. And I can tell you this, I can't even tell you the last time that I saw any swag, which would really truly be the irony of Camp Swag, is there would be no swag there. Zero swag. So there you have it, folks. What am I wearing? Now you know. On this High Noon Hemp Wednesday. High Noon Hemp Wednesday. High Noon Hemp Wednesday. How about that? Now, we're going to do some news, but first, let's check out one of those little fun little movie trailers that I made years ago.
There you go.
Well, I timed that one just right as well. A little summer movie trailer, right in time for summer to start and all that. And again, I don't actually watch them. I just know that I where I started, and I just picked the next one that I made that's on my list. And so I don't know that how I don't remember half of making them. But that one was also very fun for a movie that's never going to come. But the hemp is always here. There you have it. All right. Well, let's just we're going to jump right into the news, and of course we got a decent amount of news. The first thing here is we have so a couple pictures of this article it was called "The Tiny Life Building." It was in the Tiny Life. It was building a hempcrete home. Say goodbye to classic concrete. And it has here is some pictures of different uses for using hempcrete interiorly. As you can see, that case has got hempcrete. The walls, that I think that middle, I don't know if that fireplace is actually hempcrete there, which would be really cool. It looks like. And again, hemp is flame retardant, so it would work if you wanted to do that. But in the article, they say the benefits are ideal for insulation, moisture resistant, flame resistant, and structurally secure. Here's also a picture of some samples of some exteriors built with hemp. And so, you can do just about anything with it, as you can see, one way or another. Now, I do believe that bottom right-hand corner, I don't recognize most of the other ones, but I do believe that bottom right-hand corner may be the Asheville hemp house, which was the first hemp house to be built in the United States. That's been, I don't even know, I want to say 20 years ago at least, probably even longer than that. I know I'm pretty sure it was after we opened, but it's been a while. And now, if you go on Airbnb, or at least you used to be able to actually rent a hemp house in Asheville. It's not this hemp house, because I believe the family that built this house still lives there. I'm not positive on that, but I think so. But there is a small hemp house in Asheville that was on Airbnb. So that was pretty cool. I might have that listing actually on the second page of the website at hemptations.com. I need to really update the website. I have neglected the website. It's true. So there you have it. Interior and exterior reasons to use hempcrete. And then we can jump right into this tiny home that was redone in the Catskills. This is like a 1930-ish building a home originally, house. It's for sale in the Catskills. It was redone sustainably, and when they redid it sustainably, they used hemp insulation um, as part of the project. Now, if one was to guess what this little cabin in the Catskills in New York would cost them, what would one guess? It's not a little amount. It's almost 420, but no, they went $389,000 for this, and again, just recently redone sustainably. So that's very nice. Good for them. In the Catskills. So, and I do believe it had like 2 acres, and that's got to be nothing but nature. So, you know, you got to pay. You got to pay for that. Hope it's not near a highway. But anyway, if you're in Virginia, there are new hemp laws, I believe, coming up in July. So look into that. It's probably one of those age things for certain stuff. It's hard to say. I forget what that Virginia laws were, but I think that's what it is. There's another state that's got some July laws going into effect. I know Florida that has some stuff going into effect because the governor signed that. And that's got something to do with hemp and food product, I believe, or CBD in food product in some way or another, which is kind of interesting. I'm not really sure what they have going on there. So there are laws changing everywhere. Arkansas, I think, is doing maybe the one trying to do something with Delta 8 right now. And I think they are maybe also just trying to do an age increase, which is what we're seeing in a lot of states to some of these industrial hemp extracts, as far as, because they're 100% legal. To make them illegal, a state has to make them illegal. And that includes THCA / what we call Delta 9, extracted from industrial hemp. So, then here's an interesting study that showed 50 milligrams of CBD was best for showing sleep improvement, and 50 milligrams of CBN showed better sleep improvement than 4 milligrams of melatonin. And I don't know if that's a lot of melatonin or a little amount. I don't really know what a good dose of melatonin is. I have recently learned that it's not best to stay on melatonin anyway. Melatonin is good used briefly and then stop using. But what I really thought was interesting is they also tested 20 milligrams of CBD and 100 milligrams of CBD in the study, and they actually found that the 50 milligrams was better results somehow than the 100 milligrams. And I guess it's just because, again, most chemicals are, our body uses what it needs and then it disperses what it doesn't. And so, if that's a good thing, because again, that goes back to not being really able to overdose, because your body will take what it needs and then just get rid of the rest, I think, and not use it. And that's kind of what I think this study is showing a little bit is, there's a certain amount, and then after that amount, you're just kind of wasting it. And that's why we always tell people to start small. We always recommend, start with that body weight dosage, like I was talking about earlier, which is 1 milligram to 10 pounds of body weight. It's kind of a good starting dosage. I usually tell people that if it's a sleep issue, which about a third of our customers buy CBD for sleep issue, up that dosage a little bit. Feel okay to do that one way or another. And so, I think it's going to, and this is, more studies are going to show what that perfect dosage is, or that best dosage for regulating what you want to regulate. If it's sleep, or maybe it's your blood pressure or whatnot. And we need to get more of that, I think, worked out one way or another. But that's what, we're finding. There's a good dose that works, and finding that best dose You know, I mean, again, because when you think about it, okay, that 50, now that I've talked about that body weight, that 50 milligrams seem to work best for most people, not taking body weight into matter. And so, does it matter? You know, is there just going to be, 20 milligrams of CBD works the same in a person that weighs 100 pounds as it does it in a person that weighs 200 pounds? You don't know. That's some science we need to, that milligram per pound was just a recommendation that was going around for a while. And so that's kind of what we recommended. Who knows if that really even matters, looking at some of this stuff now as we move along with some of these studies. Doesn't matter how much someone weighs, because I have noticed that most of the studies are milligrams specific, not by weight specific. And so, that's, and again, that kind of makes sense, because it's our brain that takes the CBD in and says, okay, this is what we need. We have the endocannabinoid receptor system, takes in the cannabinoids, and it says, where does it go? Is it needed in the CB1 receptor? Is it needed in the CB2 receptor? What part of the body is it needed in? And then it sends it to that part of the body. And this is a medical fact. Okay, this is the endocannabinoid receptor system in the human body is a not well documented medical fact, because they don't teach it in medical school, which is, to me, just one of the most absurd things possible. I don't know how Western medicine, and again, because it's homeopathic, because it's all natural, they don't even want to teach doctors about a system that our bodies have that runs all through it, and that's a known fact. It's a known medical fact. And so maybe dosage is really going to be more, what relief are you looking for, dosage related, than how much you weigh as well. So, but and again, I think that 50 is definitely on. 20 is on the lower side when it comes to sleep for me, honestly, because if I do CBD for sleep, I'm usually 30, maybe 40 milligrams. I might eat 3 or 4 of our gummies, which are 10 milligrams a piece. And so I don't know if I really need that much, but it's hard to only eat 2 gummies. I think we need to do a non-CBD gummy, just a plain gummy, and then we'd sell those, really cheap on the side, and that way, when you want to eat your CBD gummies, you can have a couple CBD gummies, and then eat, at least 3 or 4 more just regular gummies, just to, get that gummy fun. So anyway, but yeah, so it looks like 50 milligrams is good, and the CBN part of it is something that we know about, or definitely noticing how the sleep tincture that we have, the Medterra, is CBD and CBN, and so I think that or CBN definitely is a boost to the CBD, and we may find works just as well, if not better, on its own. But we're not, that's. We were selling, I think, just a straight CBN, but it wasn't as popular. I think the CBD and CBN together are an optimal combination for sleep issues, for sure. So, and that's what this, again, I don't know how much for, if you know about melatonin, 4 milligrams is a lot or small. It looks like 50 milligrams is better than at least 4 milligrams of melatonin, according to this study. Speaking of barking, annoying dogs, speaking of sleep, how about Casa Parini? I think I shot a picture of these over, is making luxury sheets. Now, I didn't see a price on these luxury sheets, but you can see the product name is down there, Casa Pirani, I would guess it was. And I'm not sure what country this is in either, but they have announced that they're going to make luxury sheets. They look just like regular sheets to me.
Yeah.
And so I love it. I can't wait to find, and I may have to start looking again because I feel like it's been a little while just to find some average sheet company that's decided to make hemp sheets and they're not just like super expensive. Because, most of the time, if you find hemp sheets online, they are not cheap. And I know one of the big box mattress companies that will send you the mattress in a box and it kind of puffs out. I forget which one, but one of the bigger ones, they were actually selling hemp sheets. And again, not very cheap, but again, on the idea that they're sustainable and earth friendly and, hemp is the strongest natural fiber. I will have to say, and I would, if you're planning on making hemp sheets, make sure you find the right weave as well. I really think that if you're going to make it like a linen weave, then you need to make sure it's a 100% hemp. I have some sheets that have worked out really well for me, but they're, more dense, I would say, probably a higher sheet count, I don't forget whatever they call that. But then I have found that like the linen ones, they tend to want to tear eventually, and that's in the weave. That's it's not the necessarily this, that, or the other, but I have noticed that a little bit, and so but the right weave conditions, they're great, no doubt about it. So check out the Casa. I'm curious if anybody finds out the price on those. Let me know. I did not get a chance to go to their website to see how much those go for. We'll see. We will see. I'll check on it maybe. This is really fun because I've been talking about this because I'm curious. Northern Michigan University showed that hemp absorbs most PFAs without affecting the growth of the plant, and it stores the chemicals in the leaves, the stems, and the flowers, it looks like, for the most part, which is what I suspected. Now I don't know if they tested the fiber inside, and I hope that they did. I hope they tested the whole plant. But what the article said is that they found that the chemicals were stored in the leaves. It does say stems, so I don't know if that's the fiber in the stems or the herd of the stems and the flowers. And so, at that point, it's great for phytoremediation, which, removes toxins from the ground. But then you would still have to look into probably some type of toxic safe disposal of that plant material. It's not in the ground anymore, and that's great. Wish it would have never made it there to begin with. But again, I think that, and so, we're always speculating whether we can use that plant material, either the herd for concrete, hempcrete, or the fiber for some sheets. So, it says the stem, so that still doesn't clarify whether that's that outside part, which is what we use in the animal bedding, or the hempcrete, or the inside part, which is the fiber, which we use in material. So might be a little bit more research there, or maybe find the definitive research and see what they really found. Be interesting, one way or another. If you're looking to purchase the most expensive hemp bracelet that I think I have ever seen, Shawn Mendes, and I don't know who that is, but apparently he's a artist of some sort, singer or whatnot. He is selling this hemp bracelet to benefit his foundation. collabing with David Yurman, and I'm not sure who David Yurman is, but maybe he's someone famous in jewelry. I don't know. But this bracelet will sell for $125.
Wow.
What? You should have just made it $124.20. Called it a day. Not that he'd want to confuse anybody, because it's not made of marijuana, and I do that in hypotheses. But 20% of the sales, $25 or so, will in fact go to his foundation. Now, who that benefits in the long run, I don't know. But I hope it's needy children or starving people, or whatnot. So anyway, again, as far as I know to date, this is the most expensive. And what I really love about it the most is, I mean, that jewel or whatever that piece of metal is or whatever that is in the middle there must be worth a lot of money, because that's about 50 cents worth of hemp. And so, maybe that's moon rock. I'm not sure. But, check into his foundation. Maybe it's worth it. I don't know. But if you're looking for a more reasonable price on a hemp bracelet, check out our selection at any one of the stores. It will cost you like 90% off of that.
Nice.
Off of that price, probably. I'm not guaranteeing we have a jewel or a stone or whatever that is that looks like that, but either way, that's kind of fun. So, buy the most expensive hemp bracelet. Benefit the Shawn Mendes Foundation. I mean, I love the fact that he's doing it this way. He could have picked a silver bracelet. He could have, who knows what his, whatever his followers might like or not like. The fact that he used hemp, and I guess, and I hope that if you go there to buy it, it says, hemp is great for the planet, yada yada yada, as well. He's educating people on hemp, but and I like the fact that, maybe he's going to bring the hemp jewelry thing back, because 20 years ago, the soccer moms and the lawyers were coming into the store to buy hemp jewelry for their kids because they had to have it. I mean, it was crazy. And again, it was 100% a fad, and it was 100% citywide. No matter where you went, you weren't cool unless you had a hemp necklace or a hemp bracelet, and that was the truth of it. And of course, that made it not cool for the cool kids. And the hippies probably hated it. The athletes were wearing hemp jewelry, and the young Republicans were wearing hemp jewelry or whatever. But it was what it was, and it was huge. It was huge. And we still sell hemp jewelry. I sold a necklace in the Dayton store, just a couple weeks ago. But anyway, so they're doing a livestock study in Australia, and this is a good one, because this specific study is going to see whether cannabinoids make their way into the meat, and this is specifically what they are studying. It's not a huge group of cows, but it is Wagyu. So I know that they can't sell those 9 cows or so that because they were splitting it. I think it was 18 cows total. 9 are going to be on this hemp seed, and again, it's just grain. It's not like they're feeding it them CBD flower or THC flower. It's still a grain study, to find out whether any chemicals make it into the actual meat product. And so, I'm sure that they'll get eaten one way or another, even if they can't sell them, right? I'd like to be that test study. If they fail the drug test, Can I come have some just to see? Anyway, um, so that's that's what we're looking for. That's what we need in the grain studies for anything. And I swear, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I read this right, but I think that they were going to also uh, fish crawfish that are in a local river, and do the same study on them. Feed them hemp grain, and then see if that gets into their meat. I don't know if I saw that right, but that's what it looked like. I swear. But I might have to look a little further into that to see. But and again, I think it was because they were local, and again, apparently they probably fish these crawfish, eat them locally, and so that's why they were thinking about doing this. So I don't know. That would be also an interesting study. I do like crawfish. Anyway, okay. I mentioned this earlier. If you were paying attention, you may not have been. But there is a laser that can accurately tell the difference between hemp and marijuana, cannabis with high delta 9. And they say that this laser is 100% accurate. Now, what I would like to see is, well, I guess if you pointed it at the flower and it said it was hemp, then no more tests needed. Like that could be the test. If they absolutely need one, which again is stupid. I think they should only test plants that they believe might be higher in THC, not all plants. And again, that's a lot of state law as to whether you have to test or test. Here in Ohio, you have to test twice, and to make sure that you have that less than 0.3%. So I guess if you had that laser, point that laser at it, bing, it would know. And I guess if it failed the test, then it could go out for further testing just to make sure that the laser was accurate in its 0.4. Because I mean, is that how this and I don't know how else it would test. What does the laser pick up? Because if it's the THC delta 9, then it has to know that there's 0.4% or more of that material is delta 9, or it has to know that 0.3% or less of that material is delta 9. So very interesting. We'll be keeping an eye on this. I suppose for law enforcement and whatnot, I'm sure they're loving the idea of being able to have one of these lasers to do roadside checks of cannabis. But I think for maybe shipping, ease the mind of shipping, and again for field testing, if we absolutely have to, or if we have to do testing of the flowers, and hopefully this machine will make it easier, or this laser will make it easier. Again, even depending on how much it is, maybe the farmer buys it and he shoots the stuff and he takes a picture, or he takes that and sends it to. I think it's ridiculous that we have to test anyway. It's just one of those things. It still treats the plant like it's a criminal activity, whereas once again, we should just grow all the hemp. And if local law enforcement suspects that this hemp farmer, they're registered, that's it. If that's what they really need. And again, I don't even think, are you registered as a corn farmer? Are you registered? I guess maybe somewhere you might have to, I don't know, you might have to have an agricultural license and then submit what you're going to grow. And so you are registered as a corn farmer or a soy farmer or a cotton farmer. I don't know. But I don't think so. I think you just, buy your corn and grow your corn and blah, blah, blah. Then, I think industrial hemp should be treated the same way. And I get, again, if they suspect that a hemp farmer is growing, then they take their laser out to the field and they test the flower, uh, and they find out. Not it's mandatory that they have to test the flower when they pluck it, and then they have to test it again in 2 weeks before they can use it for anything. You can't. It's just a bunch of ridiculousness right now, and it does not encourage. Right now, farmers are not encouraged to grow. The CBD boom is gone, so you're not going to grow for that now. It's just silly, to be honest with you. You're going to grow for grain or fiber, which is what we should be really growing for in large numbers at this point in the United States, and where those numbers are going up. CBD is coming down. But if we really want those numbers to grow, we have to remove all the obstacles. And of course, we have the Industrial Hemp Act that's supposedly on the federal floor, depending on what they do with that, which is hopefully going to divide those products. If you're growing for CBD, you're under these regulations. But if you're growing for fiber or grain, you're under these regulations, which should be no regulations. Just buy grain cultivars or buy fiber cultivars and be done with it. Easy peasy. That's all you need to think about. And so, that's where we need to get to. The High Noon Hemp Show will be here until that happens, probably.
That's right.
Because all this stuff is still, all this controversy is still going on. This, industrial hemp, after being illegal for as long as it was, 80 years or so, it's taking so long to make it feel like it's nothing special, which is where we should be with industrial hemp. It's nothing special. Just another plant that a farmer wants to grow, that just happens to be able to feed a family, house a family, dress a family, get the family where it's going if it needs to. I shouldn't say it's not special, because the end products are pretty special, in all honesty, without needing a bunch of herbicides and pesticides. But to the farmer, it doesn't need to be anything special. It just needs to be a payday. That's it. It needs to be worth him getting on his tractor once a week and checking the field. Possibly watering if it was really drought, but if the plant gets so large, it really doesn't need it. But that's it. Treat it like that. CBD farmers, that's not how you CBD farm to begin with. It's more of a horticulturist thing. They should have special horticulturist laws if they really need to do that. Which is, of course, it is. I am not promoting laws against nature any more than I ever have before, but we tend to have these laws against nature, and so they should be more common sense driven, which obviously they aren't and may never be. But who knows? That is a whole nother issue in itself for sure. Let's see here. Article that was just basically on materials that breathe better, and it was really about clothes to wear on a plane, but hemp was actually included. Synthetic is terrible because it doesn't breathe. What was the positive things were the breathable materials. But I was really more impressed by the fact that they just, it was just hemp was in there with cotton and wool, just like that. They didn't, make anything special about it, but it was at least mentioned, which is a big thing now too. I'm starting to see it just mentioned in general. This is the way it should be. In general articles about anything, where it should be on the list and is often still left off, one way or another. It's just not on the top of the material list for a lot of people. It's definitely climbing to the top of the jean material. We're seeing a lot of denim companies are really focusing on industrial hemp fiber. For a material, and again, 4 to 6 times stronger than cotton, requires no herbicides or pesticides. Cotton is the leading producer of any agriculturally grown plant on the entire globe. Number one, uses more chemicals than anything else. Like that look. How about that look? That's my I hate cotton look. Oh yes. Just think of that next time you want to buy something cotton. Picture that face looking at you. Because it's a ridiculous thing to do. You know, and synthetic is a ridiculous thing to do. You know, for two different reasons. But well, not really, because they both pollute the planet, and that's the reason that they are both terrible ideas for material, is because of the pollution, one way or another. So, um, Zimbabwe, let's all celebrate, grew their first 10 acres of hemp. Now, they said that they had 5 different cultivars. I don't know what was what. 2 out of the 5 did really well in the long run, but they did have a slight drought that they think affected. But then, they said the yields were what they were expected, or they said it didn't really affect the growth. So it was a little bit confusing because they were very positive, but they did mention that there was a drought. And I think again, what this is showing is maybe those 2 cultivars are better for whatever they want to grow that for, and they need to find some other cultivars that will be better to be grown in Zimbabwe, or you start altering those cultivars now. And the way you do that is, if there was at least a male and a female, even if the plant performed poorly, but you had maybe like a couple taller ones or ones that were more healthy, you take those, you breed those, you're going to end up coming up with a seed that's better for the soil or the environment to which you are growing it. I at one point or another, I said, 10 years ago, I was talking to somebody, and I said, if anything, I think I'd like to check out growing French hemp or possibly Italian hemp, because the Italian hemp is supposed to be some of the best fiber hemp grown. Armani makes a $5,000 hemp suit. And the person says, "Oh, you can't grow French hemp seed in Ohio." And I'm like, "Well, you can grow hemp seed anywhere for one thing, okay?" What I really wanted to, and I didn't at the time, say is, well, here is Russian-grown hemp seed sales and I should say American-grown Russian hemp seed sales and Russian hemp seed sales on the same vessel. So it was the same seed grown half a world apart. And I get it. If a cultivar is made for a certain climate or environment, yes, it's going to grow best in that climate or environment. But that's the beauty of hemp, for one thing, is that we've been genetically modifying this plant for 10,000 years through breeding. Is it doesn't mean we can't still use or develop a stronger, better producer in it where that seed wasn't necessarily developed for. And again, for the most part, hemp will grow anywhere. I don't care where the seed's from. If I take my ditchweed seeds from Kentucky, which is leftover industrial hemp from almost 100 years ago, 75 years ago, and I take it I take it down to Texas, and I throw it in some soil, there's a good chance if it just gets just a little bit of water early, that it'll grow. But and then you may have to work on, once again, finding those specific cultivars that will produce better. We know there are, last time I checked, 180 or so world recognized hemp seed cultivars for grain and fiber. This was before the CBD industry even made any sense at all. 180 different cultivars already exist for hemp. I didn't mean to do quotes for hemp. For non-marijuana, I should say. Do the quotes for the marijuana. And so developing cultivars for anywhere won't be too hard if they don't already exist somewhere at the same latitudes or whatever. So we have found that it grows taller in the colder environments, in the cooler environments. That's why Russia, all those, China, um, a lot of where it's grown. I think there is in that cooler environment. So um, this is an interesting, and I don't know if this was a joke article or a real article, to be honest with you. But supposedly Kanye West is under the impression that he can't grow hemp in Wyoming at one of his farms. He has 2 large farms in Wyoming, supposedly, on his farms, for his sustainable line of clothing because of Donald Trump. And I don't know if that's because Trump told him he can't grow hemp if he wants to be his vice president someday. I don't know if it's because he thinks Donald Trump is anti-cannabis, but I'm almost sure that, and I check into your state laws, that Wyoming is legal. Maybe it's not. And again, it's not Donald Trump's fault. It's your state's fault, Kanye. If you can't grow industrial hemp in Wyoming, it's not Donald Trump's fault. It's your state's fault. But if you can and you should, why even worry about Donald Trump? If you really want to, if you're really serious about your sustainable line of clothing, for one thing, Kanye, then you need to grow industrial hemp and use it in that line of clothing. Everyone else be damned. And I can't believe there's a human that could keep you from doing something to begin with. Come on, man, you're Kanye West. Who have you ever listened to in the past? Obviously, no one, because you're a Trump supporter. But that's a whole nother issue. I'm not here to talk politics. I'm here to talk industrial hemp. So, Kanye, grow all the industrial hemp you want in Wyoming. If it's legal, check your state laws. I don't know for sure, but I'm almost sure industrial hemp, it can be grown everywhere. I don't know of any state that it's still illegal to grow industrial hemp. Wyoming, but Wyoming could be the one that I don't know about, because who talks about Wyoming a lot? Who'd have thought that Kanye West had 2 farms in Wyoming?
Yeah.
Makes sense, though. It's nowhere near anything, and therefore it could at least be left alone. Anyway, grow hemp, Kanye, for your sustainable lane. I'm going to check out his sustainable line of clothing. I mean, is he using hemp now and he just is getting it from somewhere else? Or does he want to use hemp, but he wants to grow his own hemp? It's a good question. And is he growing cotton in this farm in Wyoming? And is it organic cotton? It is for his sustainable. I'm curious. I am a little curious, one way or another. So we were talking, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but this is an article on hemp oil for your pets. And it was specifically talking about hemp oil from the seed, although they do talk about CBD a little bit when it comes to the base. But in this article, they said that they recommend, and these are doctors, veterinarians, they recommend 9 out of 10 times using hemp oil as the base for your CBD, because the hemp oil also has health benefits. Now, there's certain belief that MCT, which is the other very common base, if not the more common base, which a multiglyceride coconut something, I forget what it was, multiglyceride something, multi-chain something, MCT oil. And they also said that was good. There are studies that shown that is also healthy. It's definitely not unhealthy. I believe they extract it from coconut most of the time, so that's still a natural base, and you'll see MCT is a base for a lot of things like this, tincture base wise. And so, but this vet did say 9 out of 10 times they recommend using hemp oil as the base. And again, went on to say it was because it's high in the omegas It's high in protein. It has all the other vitamins and minerals in it that are just as healthy for us as it would be for your pet. And that's why we put our CBD and our Delta 9, our Delta 8, the tincture in our tincture is hemp oil based. That's hemp oil. That hemp was grown in Kentucky. The CBD, Delta 9, Delta 8 was all grown or extracted or made in Kentucky. And then our products themselves are made in Kentucky. And we would make them in Ohio if it wasn't for the fact that if we made them in Ohio, we'd have to pay a $2,000 a year licensing fee because that's what you have to pay to manufacture any hemp goods in Ohio, which is yet another ridiculous thing. Like, you want to keep it local, but if you buy your hemp from your local farmer and you're going to make soap out of it, you got to pay a licensing fee in Ohio, an absorbently large licensing fee. And again, they did that. Why'd they do that? Because they were ignorant to think that 100% of the people that were going to grow for CBD and could afford to pay it, and they could still treat it like a criminal. But again, all it does is mean that no one's going to manufacture. If they are now, they're probably going to get in trouble. If you're manufacturing soap in the state of Ohio, I think with Ohio grown hemp, it might be any hemp, I don't know. Like, even if you were to bring the hemp in and make the products here, you got to pay a licensing fee to the Department of Agriculture or something. Well, I don't know who you have to go through for that, but which is just ridiculous. All it does is prohibiting the hemp industry from making a real move in Ohio, which it should. We have just as much farming as anywhere. If the soil is okay for, we can rotate the hemp in with the corn, get rid of the soy, period. The hemp can replace the soy. Yes, it can. And go from there. But once again, if you're a farmer, you got to pay stupid licensing, testing, blah, blah, blah. If you're a manufacturer, you got to pay stupid manufacturing licensing stuff. It's just ridiculous. It's not where we should be. This article also went on to say that it's not 100%, but they have seen improvement in 60 to 70% of the animals that their owners or their guardians or whatever you'd like to call them had given them CBD. So, or hemp oil. I don't even know if that was even the hemp oil. That might have just even been the hemp oil, which again goes back to the fact that it should be in dog food. It should be probably in cat food. Just that hemp oil alone, which is very healthy for humans. I think any mammal will benefit. Honestly, once we get all the studies going and really moving along, I think we're going to find that most animals, or mammals at least, will benefit from consuming this. It's going to be interesting because there's the salmon study where they're going to feed hemp grain to salmon at a salmon farm. Again, the crawdad. Are their systems, is that going to help them? We'll see. That's going to be interesting, one way or another. So, all right, there you have it, folks. There aren't really too many events going on. Today and tomorrow is actually the Ohio and Kentucky Hemp Expo downtown at the Duke Energy Center. I think we're going to skip July for the medical marijuana meetup because the first Tuesday, which is when they usually happen, also happens to be Independence Day. And so I think that's why we're going to move. The next medical marijuana meetup is going to be August 1st. Just so everybody can start planning. I'll talk more about that. Of course, that's at the Mad Tree here in Cincinnati, in Oakley. And then, of course, in the middle of August as well, the 16th through the 18th, you've got the Southern Hemp Expo going on down at the fairgrounds in Nashville, Tennessee. And so, again, that should be, if you're looking to get in, if you're in the Midwest or on this side of the country even, and you're looking to get into or looking for hemp products or anything, SoCo, I think they call this one, put on by the NOCO people. And again, great events encompassing the full spectrum of, pun intended, the full spectrum of industrial hemp goods out there and available, and knowledge and all kinds of stuff. So, all right. Well, I didn't have any questions for the Ask Beach. And again, good old thoughts were pretty much put there during the show as they normally are. So I don't have any of those specific to that. Thanks everybody for watching, whether you're watching live now or watching later, the Jedi Hemp channel on YouTube. We sure do appreciate it. Or listening to the podcast, which hopefully I'll keep remembering to get the newest ones up there soon, but you can listen to some of the old ones if you really want to listen to some of the other shows. So, anyway, remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See you all next week.